Hi my dear friends, and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be talking about the Ahsoka show, a very exciting tease by Timothy Zahn, the creator of Grand Admiral Thrawn, who consulted on the character for the Ahsoka series by Dave Filoni. But before we dive into it my dear friends, please be sure to hit that big red subscribe button if you've not done so, and also hit the bell so you're alerted every time that I post a new video, which is every single day. But no more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into this. So Timothy Zahn has made some comments about the Ahsoka show, but first of all, Dave Filoni has teased what his next Star Wars movie is going to be. He says, quote, "You're looking for moments that define an era." This comes from Empire Online. They say Star Wars has always been about epic journeys, and few have been as epic as those told by Dave Filoni through the Clone Wars, Rebels, his episodes of The Mandalorian, and now Ahsoka. But when asked about what his movie is going to involve, he uses the word culmination. This is the quote, "To me, a theatrical experience has to be a big idea, a monumental moment in the time period that changes what's happening." He cites what he did in Star Wars Rebels, as well as Tony Gilroy's Andor show, as inspiration. He says you're looking for those moments that define the era, and that's what the film's going to be about. He finishes by saying, "I have ideas of course, but I'm not going to tell you what they are. We do know two things. It's going to be New Republic centric and also have Grand Admiral Thrawn as the main antagonist, and that brings me on to Zahn. So recently I've been getting back into some of the Expanded Universe comics after a few years. Dark Empire will always be my favourite comic series, and if you've read those, you start to see parallels to some concepts of the Disney era, notably in The Last Jedi and The Mandalorian. But over the last few weeks I've been rereading the Zahn trilogy comic adaptation, Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command, and these adaptations from the 90s are really something else. Very detailed, a great companion to the books, and they paint a very good visual picture of the classic Legends trilogy, the original sequel story to the OT, although they were never made canon. So why do I bring this up? Because in a brand new interview, Timothy Zahn teases some of the things we can expect in the Ahsoka show, which are directly influenced by his original trio of Thrawn books. He's done many more since, some which are canon, and Dave Filoni famously wanted to draw from them, which he did for Star Wars Rebels, and now Star Wars Ahsoka with Rosario Dawson. And when you couple this with the fact that Jon Favreau said he wants to explore some Legends material and bring it into canon, this is so exciting. Because Heir to the Empire was a beautiful story. So what did Zahn say? Well, first and foremost, he talks about the villains. Now, according to the Making Star Wars leaks, Thrawn in the Ahsoka show is going to have a lot of allies. For one thing, Morgan Elsbeth is helping him build his fleet. That's why she was on Corvus. He has Pellaeon, who we saw in The Mandalorian, again a character who came from the Expanded Universe originally. He's got assassins like Baylan and Shin, who are going to be after Ezra Bridger, but also Ahsoka Tano and Sabine Wren. But his most obscure allies come from beyond the unknown regions, in a new unexplored part of the galaxy known as the New Beyond, and this army is made up of non-Dathomirian Night Sisters. They use very powerful force energy and magic. But a big question Star Wars fans have had is, what about the Grysk? This is what Timothy Zahn was asked about. The Grysk, to some extent, are the canon version of the Yuuzhan Vong, and the Grysk were the biggest threat to the Chiss ascendancy, to Thrawn and his people, which is why he joined the Empire in the first place. He wanted to use their technology and exploit their resources for his people, for their protection, and this is something confirmed by Timothy Zahn. But he does hint there are big differences between the Yuuzhan Vong and the Grysk, and he always wanted the Grysk to be explored and not the Yuuzhan Vong, which did primarily come from other authors of the Expanded Universe. We really get our first sense of them in the 1999 book The New Jedi Order Vector Prime by R.A. Salvatore. Vector Prime was the first novel of the New Jedi Order series in Star Wars Legends, where the Jedi Order and the New Republic have to face a new threat from the Yuuzhan Vong, an extragalactic species immune to the Force, but not its effects. The Yuuzhan Vong used biotechnology extensively, growing living ships and weapons, genetically engineering themselves and other creatures to serve their purposes. They wear living, organic armor that is resilient to lightsabers and blasters. They were very bad news for the galaxy, and now in canon, in the Kanan Zahn books, so are the Grysk, and this is something we might see in the Ahsoka show. The dangers of the Grysk, just like the Yuuzhan Vong, were extensive. They were highly secretive, aggressive, known for their cunning and advanced technology, and were known to enslave other species. We know this from Thrawn Alliances and other books thereafter. They were very skilled at manipulating others, using their superior technology and intelligence to control other species, ones they deemed weaker than themselves. Timothy Zahn also reveals something about Rukh. Rukh was a Nogri who worked for Thrawn. He was first introduced in Heir to the Empire, but we see him in canon in Star Wars Rebels, where he died. He was terrifying, and I thought it was really interesting how the canon version looks very different to the original from Legends. Timothy Zahn in this interview suggests that Rukh was not his name, but rather a title, and we might see another Rukh in the future. This is massive. Now, the leaks for the Ahsoka show suggest that Thrawn has a new bodyguard, one that is not a Nogri, but if Rukh is a title, it doesn't have to be the same. Some very awesome reveals. I really can't wait for this show, and a bit like Andor Season 2, I have full faith in the creator of this. Apart from Zahn's characters, most of the characters from the Ahsoka show are Dave Filoni's creation from Rebels, so I have every reason to believe he's gonna do right by them, but share your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, Timothy Zahn also talks about how he conceived of the character of Thrawn. His starting point was Darth Vader and Palpatine, but he wanted something different, someone that didn't rely on the Force, someone who was not Force sensitive like those two, but instead relied on genius and strategy, and that's how Thrawn was conceived. And the Ahsoka show in many ways has a lot of pressure on it for those fans who grew up in the 90s, or those who simply read the books in the 90s when they came out in the comics, and really got to know Thrawn, his motivations, how he functions. Can that translate in live action? I do think the general consensus for Rebels is that it worked, but is it going to be the same for the Ahsoka show? I've seen a big worry amongst some fans that the Thrawn from the Ahsoka show is not going to do justice to the original, but I don't think so. I have a lot of faith in Filoni's vision, and as I say, Timothy Zahn consulted on the character of Thrawn, so the character's in good hands. And now, staying on the subject of the Ahsoka show, a new rumour has emerged that live-action Kanan Jarrus is coming. Now, we know he's already dead, he died in Star Wars Rebels, but Ezra in The World Between Worlds rewatches his master's death. That was heartbreaking. Could we see that again in live action? We know The World Between Worlds is going to play a big part in the Ahsoka show, or, if this is true, could it be a flashback? This would be massive. It's something a lot of fans want to see. But would they bring Freddie Prinze Jr. into it, or is it going to be someone else? But I should reiterate, this is just a rumour. Take it with a pinch of salt. We don't know how reliable this is. I've seen this source in the past a couple of times. I'm not going to say if it's true or false. We just have to wait and see. But live action Kanan would be amazing. And I would say as a flashback, it does make sense. You're bringing the Ghost crew back. They're going to be talking about the things they've been through in the Rebel series. He left behind his widow Hera, their son Jason. You have Chopper, Zeb, Sabine. I would love for a mention of Kanan and a flashback that goes along with it. In terms of surprises, Dave Filoni is the master, so I do expect something like this to happen. It wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world, and if Ezra is going to be overcoming a lot of his past, after separating from Thrawn in hyperspace, he's been in exile all by himself. I'm sure just like Obi-Wan on Tatooine, he's been reflecting on those he's lost, and maybe Kanan reaches out to Ezra in the Force from beyond. After all, he does this to Rey in The Rise of Skywalker, so it's not beyond the realm of possibility. But should they do it, I'll let you decide in the comments down below. In other Star Wars news, a new rumour suggests that Star Wars Visions is gonna get yet another installment, Season 3. Season 2 dropped on Star Wars Day, and many fans were impressed. While insider Jeff Snyder has now reported there is another season on the way. Visions Volume 3 is already in the works. And so finally, my dear friends, I finally got the opportunity to enjoy the Luke Starkiller DLC pack on May the 4th for LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Here is some of my gameplay. He was badass. Of course, he was taken from the Ralph McQuarrie concept art for Luke Skywalker. I also decided to get the Andor DLC pack because it was on sale, and I played as Dedra Meero and Cassian Andor. But share your thoughts on everything we spoke about in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. May the Force be with you always.